Oh, Jake Paul. You know what, guys? Jake Paul gets so many right. He really does. Even the ones where we think he's wrong and we question. When a little time goes by, we look back and go, wow, he did that. Jake Paul, you can learn things from watching him. Promoters can learn things, but I will tell you, he does know the business. He does know the fight business. There are less than 10 guys on earth that know the fight business. Jake learned it the hard way. The same as everybody else that actually knows it. It's extremely closed mouth. You cannot go to a library and check out a book on fight promotion. You can't watch all the interviews and you follow this guy on Twitter and you're a huge fan. You've heard everything that he's ever said. It is constant misinformation. Constant. Because the very few guys that know it realize there's competitors out there. There's some guy with some money in his pocket coming out of college. His old man left him a trust fund, and what's he going to do with it? I mean, just by example, right? Like, there's always competition, and when you do hear from these promoters, it's one of these situations where they are putting out constantly misinformation. And there's just no way to learn the business. There is just simply no way to learn. You can guess, and you can operate, and you can watch as much as you want, but until you actually jump in. And there is yet to be a person, and I won't tell you that you're always going to lose. I won't tell you that. I'm just telling you there's yet to be a person to find a sustainable model who did not start out by losing. And you start to learn and go, oh, why'd that guy give me that advice? Why this? And you start to learn, oh, because this is competitive. Because that's why he gave me that advice. Hey, how come when I worked at this company, I couldn't get into certain meetings? How come they were so disciplined on who got in the meetings? Aren't we all together? Aren't we a team? No, I'm just sharing. No, because there is information that's got to be protected. It is quite literally what business is. Secrets, if you want to call it, but it would be proprietary. It would be information. And if everybody has it, you're going to have a real hard time staying in business. So I only set that up for you to let you know, like when Jake Paul talks, you can listen to him. Jake's good. And it isn't to say that he stepped in and he cleaned up on everything. He's had his good nights. But he has had these mistakes along the way that he's had to learn from. And he came out and he set down that Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall should not only fight, Jon Jones would fight him. Jon Jones is afraid of no man. But you got to show him the money. $25 million each guy guaranteed and a cut of the pay-per-view. Sounds about right. That's a quote. Now, again, I get why this would be said. I do fully understand. But this is so far out of the box that I would love it. If Jake sees this, please do this. Get a giant whiteboard like the one at NASA. Get yourself a dry erase pen. And just write it down so we can all see it. Right there, just write it down. Just give a rough idea of where that money is going to come from. If it's a $25 million guaranteed to both guys, so $50 million right out of the gate. There are some sports where you could do that. They have distribution deals, just by example. They have broadcast deals. They have sponsorship deals. Like there is some sports where you could do it. Not the $50 million, but where you could find a meaningful amount out of the gate and then start looking at pay-per-view. But one thing about the UFC, and for some reason it pains people to admit it. I don't know why. It's not good or bad or indifferent. It's just the reality. In the UFC, you will get what you earn. The UFC has a structure in place for the top guys, the championship guys, the ones that are the main events that are moving the needle for the whole pay-per-view to participate. And it's endless. I really need to add that. Let's say for simple numbers, you're getting $1 per buy. Okay? Let's just say that. But they don't then say, and once we get to 5 million, you're all done. It's endless. It never stops. Never ever stops. So you truly will get what you were at $1 very short. I'm making an example and one that you guys, simple math, would understand. And where would that come from? Like if Jake was doing that, and you always know a fair deal. You always know if you're suggesting a fair deal, if you'll get up right then and switch seats with the guy you made it to. Right then. My father had a partner, and it was a very good man. And my dad learned a lot from him. He wasn't just a partner, he was also a mentor, and they never wrote anything down. And it was always a handshake. But part of their verbal agreement was, as partners, if I ever come to you to buy you out, if I ever come to you and say, I'll give you $500,000 in 1 week, right now, whoever says it, the other person either accepts it or switches it on him right there and says, no, I'll give you $500,000 in 1 week. At which time, the person that brought it up must accept. They cannot counter an offer that is a return offer to the one that they just said. Does that make a level of sense to you? Because Jake Paul does have distribution. He's played the venue game. He's played the marketing and advertising game. There is nothing contrary, 100% contrary to what you believe, that is an exclusive contract. He could put that fight on right now. Now, before we go down that road, and that's a slippery one, it would take me a whole nother day to explain to you why I say that. Would he do that? What if Dana released them to him? What if Dana said, you know what, I can actually get it to you for 15 each guy at the pay-per-view, and you guys work that out. I want 10 from each guy, so I'll loan them out, which is also a clause within the contract that's completely legal. I'll loan them out. You're going to be the same money. You said 50 million guarantee. It's going to be, but I'm getting myself in. Give me 20. They both get 50. But we can do this. Would you then do it? No, of course not. No, of course, for heaven's sakes. Who would be your benefactor? There's nothing that would come in. So what are we charging for pay-per-views now? About $50? So you're going to do 1 million of them? You're going to do 1 million of them to break even on your main event alone. That's insane. That's completely insane. And by the way, that's in a best case scenario. We just saw this go down with George Masvidal and Nate Diaz. And somebody gets an idea, right? They got a great advisor in pay-per-view who is a complete liar. If you ever meet an advisor in pay-per-view, you have met a complete liar. You will learn pay-per-view the same as you will the promotion business when you jump in it and start losing. But just to share for you, it's a straight split, by the way, with the pay-per-view house. Doesn't matter if you're Time Warner, doesn't matter how you're doing it. So if you bring in $50 million, you got a $50 price point, you sell the middle of them, there's $50 million. It's a straight split. They keep 25, you keep 25. And don't come to me and go, oh, chill, they've done business for 20 years and they've changed that negotiation. I'm telling you right now, it's 50-50 with the house. So now you don't have to sell 1 million, of which Jon versus Aspinall would not remotely do. You got to sell 2 million, which would be an all-time industry record. And that's to break even. On that match, not the marketing, not the card, not the night as a whole. And I'm not saying a thing that they don't fully understand, right? You come out, you get some headlines. It worked. Got some headlines, and you look like the great guy. You're the guy, man. If that would have been me, I would have ran into that burning building, and I would have carried those children out. Oh, God. If I would have been, I can't believe this guy didn't do it. He was standing right there. I would have done it. You look like a good guy. I guess we would never know. Get 2 guys under contract. You put on boxing matches. You've never done MMA before. Like somebody can't really just stick it on you. Well, sure we could. Yeah, there's a loan out clause. And that match is nowhere remotely near the numbers. And there's a larger premise that's the problem. And the larger premise is the absolute rudeness to Stipe. It has a built-in mechanism that Aspinall is better than Stipe, that Aspinall is more deserving than Stipe. Aspinall, who has never been the undisputed champion. Aspinall, who has never been to a 3rd round, a 4th round, a 5th round. Aspinall, who's fairly new in the sport, and who's a bigger believer in Tom than me, right? But you have a built-in mechanism that he's done more than Stipe, because Stipe's going to have to get pushed to the side. How would you come to that conclusion? It's as though it's an idea that Jon Jones, if you paid enough money, would do it. Jon Jones would do it right now. He just has a contract with Stipe. The decision makers haven't even taken that idea, Jon, or Jon would do it now. So it's a very flawed premise. But Jake watches my channel the same as I watch his. If I'm missing something, break it down. Tell us where the numbers are. tell us if you were guaranteeing $50 million, which unless you're going to end up like the guy that promoted Masvidal and Diaz, then you got to have the money. You got to be assured that you're getting the money. You got to have partners that are coming in with a revenue that night. Live gate, all the numbers, just break it down. Tell me where you possibly believe you could find $50 million. And while you're at it, tell me why you think that fight is so big. Because I talk about Jones and Aspinall, I can't get anybody to click